Good afternoon, women all over the world. I'm Fumi Ajumobi, your host on Vanguard Life. In continuation of our celebration of women all over the world, I have with me Dr. Omolola Omotesho, a public analyst and chair Solidarity Action Network. Today is International Women's Day, Dr. Omolola.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. How has 21st century women fared for the past 10 years?
That's like an examination question. Have we fared at all? Have we fared well? Well, we've come of age. We've done quite some things. We've had improvements. Kudos to countries like Rwanda, where they have a policy that puts about 30% of women in the parliament. Kudos to countries, to a place like California, where they now have a policy that says that a woman has to be, on the corporate board of the company. We've come a long way. We now have women who are governors, we have women who are presidents all over the world, but we are not yet there. We're still far away from El Dorado. We're still far from where we should be. The affirmative action that was done by UN and by other countries expects a situation where women become part of the system, part of the policies. But we still have a situation where we're begging for women to have a place. Women are pleading to be given power. And I say to a lot of women, nobody's going to give you power. You're supposed to take it or hand it. You're not just going to sit back and wait for power to be handed over to you. We have a lot of things that do not really encourage women to get into positions of power. For instance, let's just take randomly, for instance, meetings, political meetings, they're done late at night. They're done when women cannot attend. So averagely, the women is fearful of going to meetings at 12 midnight or 2 a.m. So we're still very far from where we ought to be. But there's a lot to be done by women. Yes, we can cry foul and say that men are not giving us a right of place, but women need to support women. We have a situation where just yesterday on the Solidarity Action Forum, I was discussing about a woman not being on a particular party ticket. And somebody said, oh, the Zani did this. Oh, this other woman did this. Oh, they still want money, so they're not interested in fielding women. And I said, since before Nigeria gained independence, men have been stealing money. You're not going to, because of one or two women, now decide not to field women anymore. We need to learn the strategies. We need to learn what more can we do for other women. Women in position of power need to be able to build, to mentor other women, so that the theme for this year, balance for better. We can balance. We're not going to throw away the children. We're not going to throw away our families. We can balance in order to be better. So
with the representation in this current election, the last presidential election, we have in the House of Assembly 360, and women is just 11. And in the Senate, in 2015 we had 7, but this year we have 6. How do we balance, Dr. Omolola? It's
a tightrope we're working on, Mrs. Ajumobi. It's a very tightrope we're working on, and we have been doing a lot. Like last year, we had some trainings, for women to take on leadership and leadership in politics as well as economic positions. As I said earlier, men are not just going to hand over power to us. When you're appointed, you are at the mercy of the person who appointed you. But when you hand power, then you can stand up on your own and lead the way with your own policies and then carry people along. Unfortunately, often women have been given, have been appointed. We've had a lot of deputy governors, for instance. Do you hear about them after they leave office? Do you?
Don't.
We seldom hear about them after they leave office, and that's
can we say that is their fault?
Yes, because oftentimes they are unpicked to that position. They were not elected. They did not fight for this role. They did not do things to position them in that role. At times they're merely appointed to those roles. So when we start a situation, it has to be a movement. It has to be a movement. Women need to understand what politics is and change the way it is played. We cannot play politics the way men play politics, because they've become pro. If they've been playing it since before independence, then they've become pro. But we'll look at the Nigerian landscape, for instance, and we'll see how women, the Aba Women's riot or the Aba Women's War, how they were able to mobilize themselves against warlords. And they were able to just change the paradigm completely. So we need to do a lot of mentoring, we need to do a lot of training, and we need to put our money behind the women that are bold enough to step out. And we need the men to encourage the women as well, because you see, when the women are in positions of power, everybody benefits.
But with the money, you have to pay certain millions of naira before you can get the form.
Well,
do you think women can afford that?
Well, we were told before that the money was waived for women. But when I interviewed,
sure it's waived?
No. When I interviewed some women, on paper it is waived.
Yeah.
But it is not waived, in principle. And that is where we need women to speak out. If you're told it on paper...
Don't you think that's the reason why we have low representation?
No, the women don't speak out. If you're told you're not supposed to pay, and you get there and you're asked to pay, you have the media, then you need to speak out. I'm being asked to pay, so that the policies can really be enforced, because policies are one thing, enforcement is another thing. So for us to really get to where we're going, for us to field more women, first we need to train and back up more women. I have a woman who wanted to go for House of Representative, I guess, and unfortunately she was sidetracked. She won the primaries, and they called her to a meeting and they said to her, you're just a woman, you need to step back and let the man go. And nothing she did mattered at that point. But when we have a movement, when we have strong women who are interested in backing up other women, then we would be able to put that behind us. For instance, a lot of people believe that the women in the north, are not well positioned to take up leadership roles. But I once went for, when Mrs. Buhari's husband got into power, we went for like a thank you celebration, a dinner in 2015. And I was shocked. Our flight in Nigeria was delayed for hours. And when we got there, women in the north did not move nowhere. They were seated, they were waiting, they were ready. And I said to myself, if this were Lagos women, I say, my child is there, I need to get back to my son, I need to get back to my daughter, oh, there's going to be traffic. I really saw the way they did politics over there. And that's why we had women like Mama Taraba. Unfortunately, this woman won after they going to court, but guess what? She was not given the mandate. She was quickly given a position. We need to understand these things, speak out, have the media on our side, and women need to support women, even with resources. You cannot do politics without money, but you need more of people than money.
But what is happening now, you said a lot about encouraging women, women encouraging women. How do we encourage ourselves? Like in politics, democracy is a game of numbers.
It is a game of numbers.
Now we don't have the numbers in the House, even in the Senate. How do we encourage women? We have a lot of group meeting all over the world. The result is not showing.
Okay.
What is the cause of that? Up to today, you have a lot of conferences, a lot of meetings, and nothing is coming out of it. Which way? How do we do it?
It's about understanding the strategies. What men do when a man is asked to field somebody, they don't go looking for the best woman. They go looking for the best man. So when these women, if we had 7 women there previously, and we had another 22, I believe, in the House, these women should have groomed other women to be part of their cabinet or part of whatever they're doing, so that they also can aspire or step up. At times you are asked to list other people. There were women, women, if they don't have the necessary education, train them. In my own small corner, I know how many women I have trained. I know women who said to me, oh, I need to leave my position, I'm being harassed, and I'll say to them, just hang in there. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Now, another thing that works against women is that a lot of women try to play politics the way the men play it. You cannot do that. We need to bring to bear a nurturing spirit. We need to bring to bear our hospitality. We need to, I once met a lady who was a boss, and she was always shouting down on her staff, you need to do, using the male voice. And I said to her, do you know when their birthdays? Do you know their birthdays? Do you know about the children's welfare? Do you ask, about what's going on in their family? If you bring the women, you know, the femininity into whatever you're doing, you would have a lot of following. Solidarity Action Network is a socio-political group. But guess what? Some people call me grandma, some people call me mommy. You think that happens in a church, right? But this is a group. And because they've seen a leader in me, they respect. A man wants you to earn it. So women must understand that. Women must understand that you need to carry people along. You don't get to meetings and start crying. You don't get to meetings and start behaving like you're weak. You need to hold up your own, and you need to be ready for the job. A man may go to a meeting and not write down an agenda. When you're going, you need an agenda. You need to carry people, let them know that you're in front, but you're not leaving them behind. So there's a lot of things we need to change about the way we're trying to play politics. And as I said, the women that are already there, they need to start fielding other women.
Do you believe a statement, I call it a statement, this issue of godfatherism in politics? No, women don't want to come out because of this. I don't have godfather. Do you believe in that, even in this century?
Godfatherism is all about, you know, somebody in a position of power trying to raise other people. Now, do these people, do they only have men to raise? No, they don't only have men to bring up. While I condemn godfatherism, but there's also godmotherism as well. You know, you have Mama Taraba in the north and so many other women. We used to have Efusheto Aniwura. You know, fierce as she was, she had her own army. We used to have a Mota. We used to have very strong women. Women can become who they will now call godmothers, so to say, because you just get that role because you're trying to pull up other people. The role is demonized. But the role is such that if a woman were to get into the position of authority or power, she can raise other women as well. We have women who are billionaires. What are they doing with all the billions? I don't want to start churning out names. What are they doing if they're not grooming other million? I said to myself that if you're a billionaire or a successor and you don't have people coming behind you, you're just taking a lone walk. You're just walking. You're not a success if you don't have a successor. So we need to begin to think of politics in the line of raising other people, other women, bringing up other women, and changing the way politics is played. Men have been playing it with money. We can play it with empathy. We can play it with kindness. We can play it with hospitality. We can play it just by caring and bringing up policies that can really help people and people can see. I said to people, a man is not likely, for instance, to want to have a doctor that is going to take care of amenorrhea in a primary health center. If he doesn't bleed every month, he's not going to think about getting a doctor to take care of women who bleed every month. If he's not the one carrying the pregnancy, he's not going to have to think of a creche in a corporate organization or in a government on a government property. But a woman will think of that. A woman will think first of education before thinking about roads. Roads are important, but Yorubas have a saying, "Omotako lo magbele ta kota." So when you don't train the children, then you have issues like area boyism, you have issues like terrorism, and the roads you have spent 2-3 years to build, they blow it up in one day. So we women need to change the way we do politics.
You know, women we shout and cry and discuss a lot about we don't have a fair representation in the house. In the last dispensation, 2015, we had 22. Do you think they've done enough?
Okay, this is
for women. Even in the Senate, we had 7. Now we have 6. Those people, because I believe that if we have one, and if that person is representing the women very well, then we can have we can see the impact. Do you think in 2015, those people that represented women, do you think they represented us well?
Okay.
And what can we do to make these new people, though they have reduced, they have had them 22, this year we have 11. Now they are just 11. Do you think they have represented us well? And how are we going to impart it on these people to represent the women so that we can achieve the gender balance?
This is one mistake we're making. If a woman is representing a constituency, she's not necessarily representing women. She's representing a constituency. Now, because she's female, there are things she ought to do to groom other women. But this is what I've realized. I, for instance, have been involved in politics for quite some years. But guess what? I have never been a card holder. Now, if you don't have a card for a party, when they're sharing positions, nobody is going to give you one. All those who worked in the campaign office with me, you know, and who did not do as much as I did, they got positioned into different things, but I got sidetracked because I was not a party member. So women cannot just be helping. You have to formally sign up for the job. You have to be formally inside. If you're not in the boardroom, you can never become a board member. You have to formally be in. So it's not enough. Oh, they need somebody to come and dance. The women go and dance. They need somebody to cook. The women go and cook. No. Sign up for the job. When you sign up for the job, if you have, for instance, somebody who is in the House, somebody who is in the Senate, if you're interested in politics, go to them and say, I am interested in politics. When you're going for your meetings, call me. You know, I was scared about 10 years ago. I called, you know, boys in my area and I said, I want to go for ward meeting. They said, mama, oh, you can't go. You can't go to that place. Don't worry, we'll be going and coming to tell you what is going on. I was scared because by the time they narrated the things that can go, our boys lay, you know, boys can get upset and things can go. They scared me out of it. But if I knew then what I know now, I would have joined them. I would have told them, okay, go and bring my card. This is the money. Go and, how much do I need to pay to be a card member? We need to be card carrying members. If you don't like any of the parties, start your own. But there must be one that fits into, you know, your personality or your policies. Join a party. If you're not part of the party, you may never be fielded.
If you're just joining us, I'll be on with Dr. Omolola, a public analyst.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure to be here.